What's up, brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. And with me, as always, the great, the powerful, it's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What up, y'all?
What's on tap for tonight? Man, we got ourselves a full-on episode. I tell you what, we weren't here last week, and so we have to make up for lost time.
Indeed.
First and foremost, Corridor Crew. If you guys aren't following Corridor Crew on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, I don't know if now is the time. You should have been following them before.
Yeah.
But these guys, foremost visual effects. I don't want to call them amateurs because they've worked on Hollywood films before.
Sure.
But they've made a name for themselves on YouTube as being like user-friendly, amateur-friendly visual effects artists.
Yeah.
We've talked about them on the show before, and we will go into more detail about our love for the show later on. They're going viral right now because they decided that they would be... they're on the front lines of everything else, so why not be on the front lines of AI? And they did a whole AI presentation thing, what have you. We'll go into detail about that.
Sure.
People are not happy about it, so we want to give our opinion on that. What else do we got on tap?
We also have, speaking of animation, a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie trailer. This is for the animated Mutant Mayhem coming out August 4th. We also have a full listing of the cast. So we're going to discuss, as a couple shellheads ourselves, what we think about the new trailer.
Mm-hmm. And then something that is kind of important to me and to most other people of color, if you played video games before, is the idea that when you play a video game that lets you create your own player, how many options do you have that truly represent your hairstyle?
Yeah.
And more importantly, black hairstyles, because they seem, for some reason, to be the hardest thing for developers to replicate in a video game sphere.
Sure.
And so a dev at Naughty Dog has said that it is inexcusable that video games are not able to do that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that detail.
Mm-hmm.
And then, last but not least,
The Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Got to catch up, of course, with our ongoing review. One more episode left. One more.
Mm-hmm. All that and probably that's it.
That's probably it, yeah.
So let's get ripping and rolling into the podcast tonight. I forgot to fucking intro the beer, so we're going to do it after the break. This is episode 384 of the One Beer In podcast. Ooh.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place where I
All right.
Always forget to put on the koozie first.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Always put your koozie on first. For your pleasure and hers.
All right. This is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew, and we see where that one brew takes us. Tonight's brew is from Human Robot. Excuse me. Is their Hallertauer Pils, and I hope that I said that right. I don't know if I said that right.
Who can say?
Who can say?
Yeah.
It's a German-style Pilsner. So, Obi, a little bit more about what we're drinking?
As you said, this is Human Robot's Hallertau Pils. It is a German-style Pilsner beer. Unfortunately, no cold read on the can, but I was able to look up their website, and the description, goes as follows. 5.2%, German-style Pilsner. Hallertau Pils is brewed as an ode to the industrial German Pilsners of the 50s to the late 70s, when technology allowed more efficient processes, but the liquid was still brewed, quote, the old way. We use a double decoction mash, 100% German Pilsner malt and 100% German Hallertau Middle Fruit hops. And that's it.
There you go. So if you're a local, for reference, the Sipo Pills is a triple decoction mash. Triple.
Should say this one's brewed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Shout out to Human Robot. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure I will be corrected if I'm wrong, but they are one of the first American breweries to start taking advantage of Maliko pours.
Ooh, okay.
They are, as far as I know, and again, I could be wrong, but as far as I understand it, Human Robot is the brewery that came up with the Maliko tube.
Ooh.
The Milko tube.
Okay.
So if you're a local and you've been to Red Light, then you know that we do Milko tubes, bombs, pours, all that jazz. I don't know if I've explained the Maliko before, but the Cliff Notes is it's a full pour of foam from a special faucet, a Luker faucet from the Czech Republic that can control how foamy the beer is. And we started doing some like real creative stuff with it, like different kinds of pours. We have our Maliko Bomb, which I don't know if I wore the jacket at some point. I gave you the jacket on the show.
You did.
That's right.
Yeah.
So basically, we got creative with the pours. Human Robot got really creative. They're the first ones to, I think they're one of the first American breweries to get freaky with the pours. To do like some traditional Czech style pours, to do some tubes and stuff like that. So shout out to Human Robot.
Yeah, I'm looking at their website right now, and their menu for actually on draft in their brewery has an entire area of traditional pours and explains exactly what those are.
Perfect.
The measurements of foam to beer, and also ask about a milk tube.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
Shout out to Human Robot. You got to give it up to anybody who comes up with a cool idea. I get really, people know this, I get really fucking pissed off. If you don't, just show love to the people that did the thing before you. You know, there's some stuff that we didn't invent.
Sure.
There's some stuff that we've innovated on. There's some stuff that we've used as inspiration.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that not America?
That's what I thought. I thought this was America.
Yeah.
I thought we were in America.
We take from all places and reinvent and maybe improve upon, you know?
I mean, this is a German style Pilsner.
It is.
So, made in
Philly.
If that doesn't exemplify America, I don't know what will.
I know.
All right, let's get into this bitch.
Let's do it.
Let's get into this bit right here. So, what do we start with? What did I say first?
Corridor Crew.
Corridor Crew. So, let's start with that. Corridor Crew. And I think that we've talked about Corridor Crew on the show before.
We definitely have, yeah.
Yeah, and I think at some point we might have cheers to them at some point.
Wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
Corridor Crew, if you're not aware, is a YouTube channel / company that does Hollywood visual effects. Mm-hmm. And they started gaining traction a couple of years ago because they started doing some really cool shows where they shouted out the lesser known artists of the industry. So visual effects artists, stuntmen, martial artists, things like that. The people that don't get a lot of love when they deserve it because they're the ones who are really making these things work, right? And Corridor Crew started doing like really fun stuff where they would make like shorts. They would show technology that was cutting edge technology in the industry. And all the while, they would bring in stuntmen, visual effects artists, martial artists to rewatch clips of movies and do the good, the bad, and the ugly
critique,
of these movies.
Talk about some of their own stuff, rewatch some of that, their inspiration, ask the audience to recommend clips that they haven't seen before, visual effects or stunts. And they're, in essence, a React series.
Yes.
That they got really big on. And their main page is the Corridor on YouTube, which has all of their shorts on it, which actually went viral because a lot of people thought that their the robot testing was real.
Oh, yes, that's right. They did the, what is it?
The Boston Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics. So they are the ones, if you've seen the video of the Boston Dynamics robot going rogue, and you thought that was real, it's because Corridor
They gotcha.
is so talented
Yeah, yeah.
at visual effects. So it goes without saying, but they got a really large following since then, and because of their charm and their brutal honesty about the industry. They didn't pull any punches, but they weren't mean about how they critique these things.
You can tell that they've always been very careful about not being mean-spirited about any of the criticism. They always give reasons why this could have happened, why a bad visual effect may have gotten into a movie.
Yeah.
Or like how it did, how people make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I feel like, at least for me, because I count myself among the fans, that's always been a plus, is that it's never just like, let's just rag on everyone else who's trying to do visual effects. Because, they're in the same, field.
Yeah, they've never just straight up dissed somebody. It's always been like, this looks bad, but this is probably why this happened. Like
right. They probably didn't have time, or there wasn't money,
Yeah.
or, bad direction, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's always been sort of their charm, that they always seem like visual effects good guys.
Yeah.
Until
very recently,
right,
wherein Corridor had gone viral again, and this time outside of the normal like nerds who follow this kind of stuff. These guys right here.
Yeah.
Wherein they did a fully AI, like I guess remapping, or
Not fully AI. So what they had done was
what had happened was
because they had done before like anime style videos where they take live action and they add effects to it to make it look like an anime, essentially, with the same sort of Scott Pilgrim-esque effects that we all know and love. But in this one, it seems like the main goal of it was to make an easy way of creating what essentially is a rotoscope. So if you don't know what that is, it's painting over real images in film with animation.
right.
So that makes like the really strange nowadays looking animation from like the Lord of the Rings animated movie. You
Ever
know?
seen like a Scanner Darkly?
Sure, yeah, stuff like that, where it's like uncanny. It moves different than other animation. It looks almost too real, but it's very unique and clear. So they want to do that easily without having, because their entire thing was they are trying to democratize, quote, animation for people who don't have, I guess, the skill or the team it takes to animate an entire, short even. So they said, all right, with visual effects, how can we do that? And the way they did that, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, because even they've talked about it, negatively, is through AI scanning.
Right.
So they chose specifically Vampire Hunter
D.
These nuts.
Ah.
And they specifically scanned a bunch of example photos from that movie and used that to generate a lot of what ended up in their short. And of course, a lot of people are very angry at that because, depending on how you're looking at it, that's just stealing.
It's really, really surprising to me that a bunch of guys who are incredibly smart and also incredibly online
Yeah.
would not understand what was coming next when they even mention AI.
They had to, though, because they themselves, in some of the past videos, have specifically talked about the downside of AI.
It just feels like in this video, they completely threw all that shit out the window. And it's just like, but here's the good way to use it.
Well, and I think that they tried to. I'm not going to say they distanced themselves. They tried to distance themselves from it by saying how much else they had to do to make it work. So it's like, we didn't just hit like search term Vampire Hunter D Corridor Crew and said, hey, look, we made art. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
They went in, they had to adjust things. There was like an issue with specifically like a stuttering effect in the animation that they had to figure out a workaround for.
Yeah.
And they did, and so you can't take that away from them, but it's still clearly it wasn't enough to distance themselves from the AI discourse.
No, because they firmly planted themselves right in the middle of it.
Yes.
And this is something that's been going on for a couple of years now, but has been ramped up in the last year and a half or so. When you see things like Chat GPT, you see a lot of like AI technology that these companies that are testing with. You see a lot of AI art being created, and people wondering why. What is the difference between AI art and like real art, and like people asking a lot of like moral questions about what it means, like what AI means in the art sphere. I guess before we go any further, we should talk about like how we feel about AI, maybe in general, more specifically in the arts.
Sure.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay. I guess, do you see any advantages to AI as it's implemented? I guess from what you've seen so far.
Yeah,
or what
I mean,
it could be.
There are clear advantages, and I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because it makes... All right, so like for my industry, as a writer, there's been a big discussion about, are we all going to get replaced by AI?
Yeah.
That you can just write, in ChatGPT, like, give me a blog about Universal Orlando in the style of Hemingway, and it can, figure something out.
Yeah.
And, it's a little scary because it can, but also as a writer, I have a big head. So I feel like it can never do as well as I could do. Now, I think...
It couldn't.
Thank you.
Never as well as you could do.
Thank you. Just me.
That's what I'm saying.
Other writers...
the rest of them?
Maybe.
I can't speak for them.
Not me. Couldn't be me. But I think in the worst case scenario, the future is we're going to have a lot of this AI helping with the process, but not, at least no time soon, completely filling these roles. Now, do I think that's going to account for some downsizing in the future, whether it comes to writers or graphic designers or whatever else they want to use it for? Potentially. But I think there's always going to be, at least for the near future, a need for an editor to review those things and somebody to really check. I mean, as a human being, I need somebody to edit my stuff sometimes,
Right.
It's just
very rarely, though.
By that, I mean, like, I need to look over it one more time and just go, like, it's awesome.
Right. So you're
We're
like
great.
editing yourself. Right?
Yeah. I say edit, but I mean, like, just really bask in the glory of what I wrote.
Seriously. Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But I do think that this spells issues moving forward for a lot of people, a lot of artists specifically. But I can see a future where there are lots of laws and regulations involved that aren't currently here yet. We're in the Wild West of AI right now, that tamper down a lot of this. Because, again, so much of it is involved in taking, quote, inspiration from other people's work. So, where are the limits and laws around that?
Yeah.
What does that mean? If I find an element of my painting in your AI generated art that you're selling for $100,000, do I get a cut of that?
Right.
Like, there has to be some kind of tag on these pieces. And it's funny, people have found literal like watermarks on AI generated images.
Yeah.
From them just grabbing stuff off the internet.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of AI generated art that has like warped Getty images in the corner and like you said, watermarks, and it's just because they just steal shit.
Right.
So that's the whole point of the watermark, is to say I did this, and
Exactly.
then you see a warped version of it.
You must pay for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think we're going to end up in a place where there is let's say like a section of the internet that is cleared for AI use. But if you don't put the use of that on your content, whatever it may be, then there needs to be some kind of security block on those things. And some way of tracking, of course anything can be hacked, but there should be some kind of trackers, some kind of block enabled that allows creators to have some kind of security when it comes to not having their stuff taken to be implemented into AI art.
Yeah.
Or content or whatever else it may be. Now, the bigger issue, which we're not going to touch on right now, is how these things can enable, let's say, people with bad intent to mess with politics.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, any private person as well.
Yeah.
With face swapping and the voice what's it called? Not modulation, but voice imitation.
Yeah.
The technology is only going to get better and better, especially with people who have a lot of content out there like us.
I mean,
it's got to be real easy for somebody to make us say stuff that we've never said. Which will be my alibi moving forward.
Not giving anybody any ideas, but I'm just saying there's thousands of hours of us speaking.
Sure.
If you wanted, and that's what scares me.
Yeah.
Because not only is there thousands of hours of us speaking, but there's hundreds of hours of me performing.
Yeah.
I, for one, hate everything about this.
Okay. Yeah.
I hope the mics pick
Me
that
too.
up.
Yeah. My girlfriend's snoozing back there.
I, for one, I think that, I don't know, maybe it comes as no surprise, but I'm very, very against literally everything about this.
Sure.
I see no advantage to this as far as when it comes to the arts, and even when it comes to even things as like copywriting and I mean, they're saying that kids are just going to ChatGPT and going, write me a paper about Sojourner Truth or something like that.
Sure.
And I see no advantage to AI when it comes to the creative process.
Yeah.
I've read and I've seen things about like how some people are predicting that if you're not, basically you need to get with it or get lost. If you're not a part of the movement, then you're just going to get moved on.
Sure.
And to me, I hate everything about it. I maybe my tune will change when I see like a more moral implementation of this technology. But as it stands, every single thing that I've seen that is of AI use has turned my stomach and has made me cringe and has made me angry to see. Yeah. And what's made me even angrier is the supporters who take they take 0 seconds to think about the artists, the writers, the creatives, the people that are being stolen from, the people that are being taken advantage of. They don't take one, and it's all of the Silicon Valley people.
Sure.
It's the Elon Musk dick riders who don't
invoke that name.
yeah, God forbid.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, you guys are lucky that we haven't decided to spend an entire episode just talking about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a point now where I had to stop tweeting about it because it was taking over my entire feed.
I don't think any of us would, do well to have that episode. Like no one would enjoy that.
I think it would be cathartic.
Maybe
for me.
Well, no,
cathartic for me.
I mean, same, but I don't feel like wasting my time anymore.
Hey, listen, if you guys want to hear us talk for an hour about Elon Musk, let us know in the comments.
Sure. Yeah, we'll get a real strong beer for that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But as it stands,
one cocktail in,
I just don't see any advantage to the implication or to the implementation of AI and its implications for the future. I just I don't see anything that makes me, even this Corridor Crew thing, when I see that, as a lot of other artists have already pointed out, it's just like, oh, So no matter what amount of work that you did, when you look at the final product, all it looks like is you acted out on a green screen, and then you used the AI to grab a bunch of source material from these artists who spent hours on this work.
Yeah.
Pulled that and then mapped it over what you guys did
And tweaked it.
and you just fine-tuned it basically.
Yeah.
And then put that out and said, look at what we did. Look at what who did.
Well, they figured out how to steal. So
Yeah.
that's not nothing.
And
yeah.
I just I saw one thing talking about the voice changing technology. I saw one guy who was like, this is what you're looking at for the future. And he wrote this verse and he rapped on a beat, and then he changed his voice to Kendrick Lamar. And it was I mean, other than like obviously the stuttering and the weird modulation of this technology, in the moments where it was smooth and you couldn't tell the difference, you really couldn't tell the difference.
It's scary.
To me, that's frightening.
It's scary.
And I don't see how you could say that that's a good thing for artistry, for creativity. And I see some people say like, oh, it makes it easier for people. It makes the point of entry easier. But if you ask me, art is hard.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Right.
You earned it.
Well,
I can't play the guitar.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I didn't put the time in. I didn't
Sure.
put the effort in. I didn't shed the blood or the tears. I don't have the calluses on my fingers. I didn't earn it.
Yeah.
You don't deserve it.
Right. It is acting as a cheat code for a lot of wannabe artists.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And like I can see an argument, or I can see people making the argument that, well, you sound like an old fogey who like called hip hop production like fake artistry because you're taking from so many other source materials. But that's apples and oranges.
Yeah, exactly.
It's apples and oranges.
It's not the same.
Because putting in words to Chat GPT and then getting a result's not the same as digging in the crates and cutting up a sample.
Anybody who tries to compare what's happening now to what producers did in the 80s and 90s has no idea what sampling actually is.
Sure.
Because I don't grab a record, put it into a software, and then a beat gets spit out.
Right.
That all I did was find the inspiration.
But what if you could?
If I could, I would feel like I cheated.
Yeah.
I would feel like I didn't earn that. I spent hours working on one song, working on just one drum loop.
Yeah.
To feel like I could just grab a thing, feed it into a technology, then come out on the other side with a fully formed thing, and then to say I did that is insane to me. It's fucking, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm which I guess should really spell how we feel about this Corridor Crew thing.
Yeah,
really.
and the funny thing is, at first I was kind of impressed by like the teaser they put out. I was like, oh, that looks awesome. And then I saw the actual end product, and I gotta agree with a lot of the discourse on Twitter, especially. It doesn't look that good.
No, it doesn't.
It really, I think it would have behooved them to do what they had done before, which is take their live action green screen acting, which I thought actually, looked pretty cool and worked for the theme, and just add effects to it as opposed to making it this whole AI, rotoscoped-esque thing that I think loses something in the translation. Like it would have looked way cooler if they just did their VFX thing around the live actors to make it work.
I would have preferred them to do this and then acknowledge what they had done. To me, it feels like when I watch it and when I see everything that they post about it and how they talk about it, it feels like they're going, this is the future, right?
Yeah.
And look at what we did, as opposed to what they usually do, which is to acknowledge all of the implications of what they've done.
Yeah.
And that's the part that bothered me the most, which was like, it really, I felt like they usually are very aware of what they're doing.
It seemed like they were way too proud of what they did on this one.
Yeah.
And like even to the point of like saying, you know, we can show you in more detail how we did it if you pay into it.
Well,
you know?
And they also made jokes about it. If you look at their Instagram, as of this recording, 3/8, on their Instagram, they like make jokes about they remapped The Last of Us, and they were like, look at the AI technology and like blah blah blah, and they're like, you can tell it's kind of like a wink wink, like we heard what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if that's the direction you guys want to go with this, man.
Yeah,
I think you guys
a lot of people
might
are
want to,
actually mad.
Yeah, you might want to acknowledge the fact that like some people feel a little betrayed by you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, what if The Last of Us was a video game, which obviously is a joke.
Sure, yeah.
And then they just kind of remap it or reskin it rather.
Ah.
And like if you hear their audio, like the way that they're narrating it is like, you know, they obviously are poking fun at,
Sure.
you know.
One of the top comments is, stop with the AI shit, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very clearly a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely is. There's a lot of people acknowledging the joke in this. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Anyway, I mean, at this point, it's going to be very interesting to see where all of this stuff goes. But watching Corridor Crew, a couple of guys who seem like they understood their place on the internet and like what it would mean for them to do something like this, and for them to not acknowledge that, for them to kind of like gloss over it, kind of feels like a kick in the teeth a little bit.
Rare Corridor Crew L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if they post something where they go, listen, guys, we heard what you're saying. This is the reason that we did all that. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. It's not like they owe us an apology or anything. I don't give a fuck about that.
That's the other thing too. Is like, I understand a lot of animators, especially, are upset, but there's been a lot of discourse that's been a little over the top.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little over the top. At least for me. You know, feel how you want to feel, but, you know, saying, oh, I knew they were scumbags this entire time.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to say.
And like, oh, you know, I've been looking for reasons to unfollow these guys, and now I have it.
I mean,
Shut up.
They seem like...
Shut up.
Seriously.
You sound more insufferable than a six-handed AI art piece. A selfie of me in like medieval times with 10 fingers on one hand
and like 1,000 teeth.
Yes, it's so many teeth.
So many teeth.
Yes.
Yeah, those dudes seem like pretty good guys. It just seems like a rare misstep.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, speaking of animation, the arts, and how we could be advancing, somewhere where we haven't advanced is representation. And I don't know if this conversation was brought on. I don't know where this conversation has started.
It's really funny because I thought you were going into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was like,
well, that's an interesting way to get there. But
okay,
we'll
all right.
Yeah, like turtle representation.
Yeah, Teenage
turtle.
Mutant
Turtle.
Ninja Turtle representation. Yes.
No, not yet.
Okay, all right.
We're going to talk about the idea of...
Finger off the trigger.
Hairstyles in video games. Because... Oh, well, you have the article pulled up.
I do.
You want to just go through and then we'll...
Sure. This is from Video Games Chronicle. The headline is Naughty Dog artist says devs, quote, don't have an excuse to ignore authentic black hair in games. So this dev, his name is Del Walker, apparently previously worked on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, designing Deadshot, who is a black character, if you didn't know.
Black
Superman. And now he's working for Naughty Dog, so that's hence the headline. But this was all kind of sparked because of Kinda Funny's own Blessing Adeoye Jr., who had a pretty good video all about black hair in video games.
Yeah.
And he went in to discuss with some current designers and devs to talk about why some games get it right, some games get it wrong, and why historically it's been a struggle to find more than just cornrows or an afro.
Yeah.
In a lot of video games. So it's a very interesting video. I think pretty well done. Check it out on YouTube. But that sparked an entire conversation amid both just video game players and the industry at large about why that is, and why, if nowadays they get it wrong, why would they get it wrong? And the answer to that question, it seems like a lot of times, is because there isn't as much diversity as there could be in development.
This is my surprise face.
Right. So, you know, if you're, again, especially if you're talking about somewhere that's not America developing a game, such as Japan, a lot of times it's a cultural barrier where they don't even know what a current black hairstyle is. But you can hire people of color.
Or
who
you can just
tell
Google it.
You could, but even that is a step removed, I feel, from getting it right. Because you could be like 2023 black hairstyles and get a good idea, but it takes a certain amount of knowledge to design that in a game. You know, like, there needs to be more in-depth understanding of what black hairstyles are popular, and frankly what black hair looks like and feels like and does, you know, like, because so much of it has been historically like kind of tweaked straight hair, you know, just to make it kind of look like a black hairstyle, or just really low poly afro. So I'm looking at GTA San Andreas. But, you know, I think if you watch that video, you can clearly see the advancements that have happened, which are all positive. But I see a lot of people online downplaying the importance of this, but it is important for representation.
I mean,
especially in games that are all about personifying a made-up character, a user-created character.
And if you want to see yourself in the game.
Exactly. Imagine if you couldn't make... I'm not talking about like just a bad character creator, but a character creator that's pretty in-depth, that you still can't make someone who looks anything like you.
Oh, it happens all the time.
Right.
It happens all the time. Anybody who downplays this really just... I mean, there's going to be the rare person of color who downplays this, but it's mostly white people who don't really understand what it means to be a person of color playing these games, and what it means to see yourself or not see yourself most of the time in these games. And I think that's I don't know, man. Like it's something that people don't really seem to. More and more, especially nowadays, it's hard for people to like really empathize with other people in general, and people of another race more specifically. Right. And especially in video games, I mean, like if you're watching the show, or if you've seen me, you obviously know that it's not like I have, you know, a very rare texture of hair. Like I can find myself. I can't find myself. That's a lie. I can find my hair texture in these video games 9 times out of 10. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes like curly hair or wavy hair is a little harder to find. Most of the time I can find my hairstyle. But I will go through these creative player suites and try to just look at what they do. And I mean, again, if you're somebody who, by the time you turn the game on and go through option 1, 2, and 3 and find yourself, you're not going to even explore the idea of, oops, I dropped my phone. You're not going to even explore the idea of what it means to somebody else who doesn't look like you, and how hard it is to find themselves in this video game. I mean, there's some games where even the skin tone goes from pale white, olive, sort of brown, fucking purple. Like it doesn't even try with black skin.
Well, and that was one of the points actually in this video that one of the designers that he talked to made was one of her favorite games back in the day was Animal Crossing. And the darkest they got was like a little tan. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
So
it's fucked up.
She couldn't make herself as a kid growing up playing Animal Crossing, and it subtly digs deep.
It does.
Over time.
It does. It you start to think about, like, they're not, like, these developers are not thinking about you when they're creating these games. They don't see you playing the game. They can't envision a world where you are playing the game. And so they don't even think about it. I remember, like, even American-made games, like NBA 2K. I remember, like, looking at their cornrows, their braids, their dreads, and just thinking, like, Jesus Christ, who is on the design team? Some of this looks like absolute shit.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Like, the braids are separated by like 1.5 inches of skin, and it's just like, this looks like shit. Nobody in their right mind would walk around like this.
Yeah.
Not especially a fucking NBA player who's making millions of dollars. You think he's going to go and get his hair braided like this? This looks terrible. What are you talking about? No lineup. No, it's just, it always amazed me how bad the hairstyles were in some of these video games.
Yeah.
And, It's amazing that it's 2023 and we're still having this conversation about hair in video games. You think it'd be the easiest thing to correct, and yet it seems to be one of the hardest things for them to get right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and some of it has to also do with the technology, because hair is historically tough to get down correctly in video games. That there's obviously physics involved sometimes, or individual strands that you have to animate and with movement. So
see, when I see a game like Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon West, and she has individual hairs on her face, to the point that it angers internet nerds,
who have never seen a woman up close. They're like dolphins, right? They're just smooth,
just wet and smooth. That's how I like my women. When they can do that, sometimes to me it falls on deaf ears when people say, like, well, it's the technology and it's like it's hard to. It's like, I don't think it's difficult.
It's possible. It's very much possible.
Yeah. It is. It takes the time for you to care, to put that stuff in there. Yeah. To try harder to represent people.
Well, and again, to go back to this video, he points out specifically Horizon as being a good example of how well they did black hairstyles. Yeah. And even that one, though, if you zoom in, is white hairstyles made to look black. Right. But it works. Like, it still looks good given what they did. Yeah. So, there have been progressions in this, but still there are very clearly places that need to be advance in representation as far as this goes. And anyone who says it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter being able to create a character that looks like you, probably hasn't had to have that issue.
They never. Yeah, people don't think they representation. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum on this show.
Black Superman.
I'll talk about it every week if we have to. I mean, this show is a brown show. Like, we are people of color. I pride myself on this show being two guys who represent something that is different than the norm as far as what you see from a show about nerd culture.
Sure. Or craft beer.
Yes. I mean, not to say that there is any less merit in these other shows, but there's 1,000 podcasts with white men talking about the stuff that we're talking about. We come from it from a different lens, from a different upbringing. And I think that that's important. I think when people hear this show and they see us and they hear us, the people who are like us go, I live that too. Mm-hmm. as there's a lot of people who didn't grow up the way that we grew up and,
Sure.
and don't see it the way that we see it. And there's thousands of shows that I listen to that I didn't grow up that way and I didn't see it that way. I saw it a different way and I continue to see it a different way.
Yeah.
So all of that shit matters. So it really pisses me off when people are like, what difference does it make? Why are we still talking about this? And it's like, we're still talking about it because look at how bad it still is.
Yeah.
Look at how much representation there is still lacking in these industries. That's why we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
You want to end these conversations, then you need to be a part of the solution, which is continued representation. If we get to a point where we all have a voice that is heard the same amount as every other voice, then maybe we can finally stop talking about this. But until we get to that point, we have to continue talking about
Sure.
it. That is the point. That's
Sure.
why we have to talk about it.
Right. Which isn't an anti-white statement.
Absolutely not. It is a statement about equity
Sure.
and equality. It has nothing to do with lessening white voices. I hear plenty of white voices.
There are plenty of white voices
And
out
I am
there,
not
yeah.
saying we need to take away any white voices. I am saying we need to
Add.
raise the volume
Right.
on the other voices.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So that they are all at the same volume, so that we are hearing everyone's perspective, not just yours.
A
That's all.
beautiful cacophony.
Yes, that's
Let's
it.
do that. Let's do that.
And it starts with getting braids right.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. We need the correct braids and lineups.
Yeah. Dude, the
And-
lineups
and
in some of
waves.
these games is crazy bad.
Yeah.
You would get clowned out of the fucking gym with some of the lineups they have in these games.
It's
crazy.
I have been clowned out of a gym because of my lineup before, believe it or not. I was blessed with both a cowlick and a widow's peak.
Mm-hmm.
So my barber in high school did the best he could, but
Man.
there was no
I
saving it.
remember you used to cut the widow's peak off, but you could kind of see the shadow of the widow's peak.
It took a day. It took a day for it to start coming back in.
It was like, hey man, just don't even. What's the point?
And the scene that I was in, that we were in at the time,
Oh yeah.
would point that out
You would get
immediately.
shredded.
Yeah.
You couldn't fucking get out. Oh man.
And one time, I trimmed it myself after like day 3 because I was tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
First thing someone says as I'm walking off the bus, "You trim yourself up there?" I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right."
You trim yourself.
And that's the day I stopped having that done.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
I can't do the
Tough.
fade. I just can't do the fade anymore.
No.
Can't.
No, it's hard. It's
Can't
hard.
do it.
It's hard. You have to work around it. If you don't have like you gotta have a good hairline. Not even a good or a bad hairline, but just a straight hairline across. You gotta have that Jalen Rose. If you don't got that Jalen
Sure.
Rose, man. Excuse me. You gotta
Stuff.
work around it.
Stuff.
You know. I feel you. It's tough. But man, we don't need to go back in time. Unless we're the Turtles and we're going Turtles in time.
Cowabunga!
That's right, baby. We are living in what some would say the Turtle-assance.
Thank you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Coined. TM.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's been what? It's
been.
past couple of years, really.
Yeah.
We've seen this like resurgence of
Turtles didn't go anywhere, though.
They never really went anywhere. You're
No.
right.
No.
Absolutely. You're right. But the quality of the content has definitely gotten better.
Sure.
You can see there's this real care in the turtle stuff that's come out recently. I
Yeah.
watched Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Rise.
Turtles, the Nickelodeon show with the newer animation style.
Right. Where they all look like wildly different.
Yes.
Right.
And let me tell you something. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Great show so far. I've watched like 3 or 4 episodes. It's fantastic. So Seth Rogen, everybody's favorite pothead uncle, is the executive producer / star of the new TMNT movie. What is it? Turtle Mayhem?
No,
Something Mayhem?
Mutant
Mayhem.
Mayhem.
Yeah, you got to go with that alliteration, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And yeah, so the first trailer just dropped, and I
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Trailer trash.
Trailer trash.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, you got that right. This is a little mini episode of Trailer Trash, where we're going to talk about Mutant Mayhem, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie.
Yeah, buddy.
So let's get right into it. What'd you think?
I
First impressions.
I loved it. I love the hip hop vibes. I love the voice acting. They sound like kids, which is great.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Love that part.
The humor seems on point for me. I love the animation style. It's very Spider-Verse, which, people are going to say, oh, isn't everything Spider-Verse nowadays? Yes, and I love it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Look at the latest Puss in Boots, please. I beg of you. Yeah, I mean, it hit everything that I needed to see and that I didn't know I needed to see, because I honestly didn't have very high hopes for this movie. Maybe that's partially why I'm so high on it right now. It's because my expectations weren't that high.
Yeah.
But I am genuinely excited to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I want to. So, not trash.
Not trash.
No.
I can't say that I had any kind of foresight on how good it was going to be.
It's been burned too much in the past.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. But, yeah, man, so far, I had to, temper my expectations, because I'm watching the trailer and I'm going, I mean, they're nailing it. Everything about this is so much fun. It really captures the spirit of the Turtles.
Sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know if you can watch this trailer and dislike it and then still consider yourself a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It just, I don't know. So far, it looks like it's just fucking nailing it.
Yep.
It looks like a labor of love by everybody involved. I guess we should address the April O'Neil controversy.
If we must.
I mean, I guess we'll just talk about it a little bit. I mean,
Sure.
Here, listen, I get it, nerds. You guys want to fuck
any woman,
fictional character, yeah, and more importantly, any woman that you can't get in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you can make them
Wish
something
fulfillment,
that is far off, you never have to worry about being denied by
Sure,
said woman.
Yeah.
And so you can dream about, a tall, redhead, slender, Scarlett Johansson type in a yellow jumpsuit, or I guess a Megan Fox type in a yellow jumpsuit, and you can touch your penis to that, you weirdos.
Okay. Just touch it.
Just touch it. Yeah. The spirit of the character can be anything that the writers want it to be. If you watched Rise, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the way that they captured April in that show, it's a completely different character. It's a completely different character.
Okay.
So, it changes the original story, because obviously, in the original story, April and Casey get together.
Yeah.
And they have a child, and
two humans,
right? They're
yeah.
So that's part of it.
Helps.
And but they're relatively around the same age, and they have the turtles in common. So obviously that is something
mutual
different.
Friends.
Mutual friends.
It's very important. Yeah.
4 mutant turtles and a rat.
A common cause.
So yes, I understand if you're it goes against my original idea of what the Mutant Ninja Turtles is and what April O'Neil is and everything like that. All right, fine.
Yeah.
But if you're just she's not hot, you're fucking weird, dog.
Yeah,
you're weird. You're weird.
Very weirdo behavior.
That's weirdo behavior.
Yeah.
You're weird.
Scaring the hose.
He's scaring the hose, man.
Yeah.
That's strange shit to do. Strange to be. It's a strange kind of person to be.
Strange way to be.
You need to reevaluate some things. If that's the priority for you, is
Sure.
Why isn't she hot?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Also, actually, as I saw via Twitter, April O'Neil originally was supposed to be a mixed woman.
Hit him.
So
Hit him with the facts.
it was made, obviously the original run of the comics was black and white, but famously, April was based on a real life April from one of the co-creators who is a mixed woman. And when they colored some of those original runs, they made her a brown woman.
Yeah.
So,
Oof.
you know, actually, if you're going based off of the original cartoon series, you got it all wrong, bud. I'm sorry. You got it all wrong. But that's neither here nor there.
Of course not. Because that part would be that would go against the narrative that we're creating here. So
of course.
Obviously, that part we have
Hashtag
to
not my turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this like a guy who owns a Jewish deli?
Yes.
Hashtag not my turtles.
It's not my turtles. Not my turtles.
Either way,
Yeah.
trailer was not trash.
Not trash. Not trash at all. And I don't know if you've read the synopsis via IGN.com, but learning more about the plot itself has me even more excited.
Yeah.
Shall I?
Please.
In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, after years of being sheltered from the human world, the Turtle brothers set out to win the hearts of New Yorkers and be accepted as normal teenagers through heroic acts. Their new friend April O'Neil helps them take on a mysterious crime syndicate, but they soon get in over their heads. When an army of mutants is unleashed upon them.
Love it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great spark of a story there.
Simple.
I like it.
You know, you get all the major players.
Right.
You get a good reason for them to want to expose themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Love it. All right. Well, we'll come back to that at the appropriate time.
Yeesh.
We'll watch the movie, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we'll let you guys know.
I would love to.
Because so far, I am living for any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle content.
Yes.
Love it.
The revival is upon us, boys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least.
Or is it?
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
We have to give you guys, we know you've been waiting on it, episodes 7 and 8. The
That's right.
synopsis.
That's right.
Synopsis.
That's right.
So, Obi, without further ado, you know what to do.
All right.
the
All
people.
right. So we start with episode 7, titled Left Behind. If you know anything about the games, this is the DLC that came out later, but is interspersed into the game itself. This happens in winter when Joel gets injured. Ellie's trying to treat him in any way she can, but she's starting to lose hope because Joel ain't looking so hot. Actually, he is, because he has a fever, and she knows that's bad. That's bad.
One thing she does know.
That's bad.
That's bad.
So she is about to run out of the house. We don't know why, but... Well, actually, we do know why. Joel tells her, run, go, get out of here. Go back to Tommy. He'll help you.
Yeah.
And she's defiantly saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Trying to help him out. Clearly, they have a bond at this point. Interspersed in this time, we get a flashback. This flashback is all about Ellie and Riley's relationship. They're both friends. Riley leaves the Fedra camp that they're in. They were both students of Fedra, being trained to be soldiers. Students of Fedra. The students of Fedra. Riley runs away. We don't know why at the time, but we find out, because Riley comes back for Ellie, that she has joined the Fireflies. Fireflies have recruited her. She's stationed out at this abandoned mall. And, skeet.
Just every fucking
Every
time.
time. Every time.
So sick of it.
Yeah. So Riley gets Ellie to leave her dorm and go on a little adventure with her as she explains what's going on.
We're going on a trip.
And so they get to the mall, and we find out that Riley wants to show her all of the wonders of the mall. Of course, the mall is something that Ellie's never experienced before because she was born after the outbreak. She shows her this and that. I'm trying to speed up here, okay? Relax.
I didn't say anything.
Did
I say anything?
I can feel it.
I didn't say anything.
That's how you look at me.
I mean, if you felt like you needed to speed up, then maybe you should speed up.
Okay.
If you felt like you needed to speed up.
So
you need to speed up.
they have a really nice time at the mall. Shows her a merry-go-round, and they do the photo selfie booth thing. A lot of fun. But then at the end of it, Riley admits to Ellie that the reason she did this was as a goodbye because she's leaving to... Where's she going? Boston? Is she going to... No, she's not going to Boston. Atlanta?
Atlanta, I think. Yeah.
Atlanta? She's going somewhere. I think Atlanta.
I'm pretty sure it's Atlanta.
Yeah. So she's been stationed to go to Atlanta.
She's been.
Ellie gets really pissed off at this and the fact that she's been making pipe bombs.
yeah. To
that little thing.
Yeah, that old picadillo.
Yeah. So
well, and the implication is that with the pipe bombs, who knows what she could or could not do with that, and like, Ellie takes that as like, I mean, if you guys wanted to destroy the QZ that I am currently in, what is to stop the Fireflies from killing me?
Right, because at this point, Ellie is kind of on board with Fedra. Because the Fedra captain brings her in and has a heart-to-heart with her earlier on, saying, like, you got two paths in front of you. You can either be one of us and boss around the other people.
One of us.
Or the last of us.
Last of us.
Or you could continue to screw around, and then we're going to station you to guard the people who shovel crap.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Which is what Riley was stationed
to do. That's why she left. So... Riley essentially says, like, it ain't equal for all of us, like...
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Yeah. And so, eventually, they do their little dance-off in the Halloween store, which is part of the game. And Ellie tells Riley, don't leave. And Riley says, all right. They smooch. We find out that that's what's been going on. The tension in the air isn't just, something you've imagined. It's there.
It's love.
So Ellie says, well, what do we do now? Riley
and
says...
they call it puppy love.
That's beautiful. We might get a strike for that. So
I sang one note.
So accurate, though. Sounds like the record.
Yeah.
And Riley says, we'll figure it out. And then they get attacked by a clicker, who attacks both of them.
A clicker. Don't say the hard R.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please bleep that. I was told I could. But yeah, they both
Who
get
gave
attacked.
you the C-word
I'm
pass?
sorry. Clicker John. It feels dirty now. It feels wrong. I don't like saying it. I don't like saying it.
Very quickly it got bad.
I don't like saying it.
Yeah.
It hurts now. But yeah, so they both get bit, and Riley says to her, like, we got three options. We can either, shoot each other in the head, call it a day, or we could. What was the other one? There. I know there were three.
The second option was to just basically go insane together. And then Ellie was like, what's the third option? She was like, there's no third option.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah, that's why I couldn't remember the third. But yeah, so clearly Ellie, they decide together to just go ahead and take as much time they have left with each other.
Yeah.
That's worth more than anything else.
Yeah.
And that pushes us to the current time, which we see Ellie go, no, I'm not giving up on Joel. I'm going to try to make this work.
Yeah.
No matter what. So she eventually finds a needle and thread, sews up Joel, and that's where that episode ends.
Yes.
Moving on.
Well, let's just 2 seconds. Let's just give our thoughts on that one.
I thought they did it well. I wasn't as affected as like episode 3, let's say.
Yeah.
But I thought that the way they handled it was really well done. Lots of tension. They do the, like you see the threat ahead of time with the clicker waking up.
Yeah.
And the entire time, the entire majority of the show after that, you're like on edge because you know that clicker is going to show up eventually.
Right.
Even having played the game, I was like, when are they going to have him come out?
Yeah.
So that was good. I like the tension a lot. Maybe not my favorite episode, but I think worthy of the quality that the show's been giving us so far.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
You're a big proponent of these like DLCs and like really exploring the lore of these games, like really expanding the stuff.
Sure.
So, I mean, I know that I probably wouldn't have dug so much into like the Left Behind DLC, or even like I still haven't played it, but like I'm at some point I will play it. Not the Left Behind DLC, I did play that, but the Uncharted DLC.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so like these extended stories and these things
that's not a DLC technically. It's like a side story.
Right. You have to buy the It's
DLC-esh.
Yeah. It's
Esh boys.
DLC adjacent.
Yes. Yeah.
They are things to really kind of flesh out the story and like really fill out the world and make it more alive and make it like, give you more context as to why you should feel the way that you feel, or however you feel, but like give you more just more to fill it out.
Yeah.
And so it was very interesting to see them take an entire episode to go into something that is not part of the main game proper, right? They didn't have to even address Left Behind at all.
Sure.
It could have been like honestly, if you wanted to do like DLC, they could have ended the season and then like a week after been like, oops, surprise episode drop. Yeah. Boom, Left Behind.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But instead they decided to give you context as to why Ellie cares so much about Joel. And part of it is the last person that she loved, this is what she had to go through with that person. And they show you like what happened.
Yeah.
And they show you why she is not giving up on Joel, because you don't give up on the people that you love.
Sure.
Even at the darkest moment, you don't give up on those people.
Sure. Well, and it's important to realize they both thought at the time they were going to die. Both of them were going to die.
And even still, they said it's better to appreciate every last second you have with each other than to kill yourself and take the quote unquote easy way out.
Yeah, I think the line was something like whether it's 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, or 2 days.
Yeah,
I want to stick around for this.
Yeah, and I think however you feel about the episode at all, that sentiment is a very beautiful, heartbreaking, poignant sentiment that justifies the episode enough.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think, if anything, the show has been a showcase for Bella Ramsey.
Yes.
And I think seeing Bella break down and smash everything like she does in the game, I thought that was really powerful. And I thought that it was only undercut by the fact that we know that she survives. But then I always, and I don't know if this is actual like lore or not, but I always assumed that she had to kill Riley eventually. Like she had to put her down.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. She definitely had to kill her.
Yeah, which just adds so much depth to her character and talking about losing people.
Yeah.
That is like unfathomable for anyone having to, kill their best friend, but also as a child having to do that.
Yeah.
Like it just shows why she is
and the fact that they were like really, really good friends.
Sure. Yeah. Really good friends. Yeah, exactly.
Like the bestest of friends.
The most bestest of friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it adds real character depth, and I absolutely think it was necessary. I think it was worth its while.
Super necessary.
Yeah.
All right, episode 8.
Episode 8 is When We Are in Need. So Ellie leaves Joel because they're running out of food. She ends up shooting a deer, and the deer runs away.
Goddamn deer.
I know. The deer dies eventually and is found by David and James. David and James. They are part of this group that is very clearly religious, but something's off.
Something ain't right.
Ellie is able to barter with them. He holds both of them at gunpoint, but James runs back to David's order, who is the leader, I should say, of this group. Because he tells James to go get some penicillin for Ellie. He comes back, sneaks up on Ellie, holds her at gunpoint, but David tells.
Get it together.
I'm sorry, freaking out. I'm not used to having to doing 2 episodes.
It's too much synopsis, man.
Too much. My mouth is dry. David.
More beer.
Yeah, David. That won't help. David ends up telling Ellie, "Oh, you can go ahead, take the penicillin, but two of our guys, went out to scout and got killed by a dude with a little girl. So,
You know any dudes with a little girl in the area?
Yeah.
During the apocalypse?
Very interesting. Everything happens for a reason, am I right?
That's what they say.
So he lets Ellie go, but soon after has a team, and him included, go after her, track her down. Ellie realizes that they're coming after her. Tells Joel, "Hey, people are coming. I'm going to run away. Be careful. Kill whoever comes down here.
Be careful.
See you later."
Figure it out.
So she runs off, ends up getting caught by David and crew because she's trying to get them off of Joel's scent. Joel eventually comes through after Ellie gave him some of that penicillin right into the wound.
Yep.
Very gross.
That's how that works.
Yeah. You
have to
shoot it
stab
right
the
into
wound.
the wound.
Yeah.
Directly into the wound. Mm-hmm. Twice.
Yeah. And then that's all you need is 2 shots of penicillin.
2 shots of
and then you're
penicillin
awake.
right in your gut.
Yeah.
Right in your gut hole. Yeah. So
it just explodes into your stomach and then
so disgusting.
just gets absorbed, and then you just
You needed the adrenaline shot from Pulp Fiction. Ready to kill. And so eventually David's men find one of them finds where he's hiding, but he has come to enough to hide, stabs him right in the throat, watches the life leave his eyes.
Yep.
Joel quickly dispatches the rest of everyone who's around, even at 10%.
Love it.
He does the awesome scene in the game where he holds that one guy at knife point.
Yeah, the interrogation scene.
The interrogation.
Love it.
Stabs him to death, then bludgeons the other man.
Yep.
Finds out.
I believe him.
Finds out where Ellie has been taken. Cut back to Ellie. Ellie has been taken by David. David's interviewing her to find out what her deal is. We find out very quickly that David is a pervert.
A pervert.
He's very gross.
He's a class A prevert.
He's a prevert. He's very gross. His vibes are off. He does not pass the vibe check.
Not at all.
Ellie sees an ear in another cell.
That was the ear alarm.
Yes. It's the magic word. So she puts together, "Oh, you guys are eating each other.
Oh, shit.
Interesting.
That boy's eating people."
So Ellie does her thing, acts like she's playing along with David, ends up breaking his finger.
Yep.
Bella Ramsey again doing the most. And eventually, David comes back with James to strap her down and get to chopping. They're going to make her some
Curry.
minced meat.
Yeah,
Yeah, some
Ellie
curry.
Curry.
Ellie Curry. But before they can do that, Ellie bites David, says, "Hey, look, I'm infected. Now you're infected."
Yep.
And he can't believe it. But in that time, in that distraction, Ellie's able to break free, chop James right in the neck,
Yep.
and keep that ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to their makeshift church, which is a steakhouse, and a little on the nose. Always thought that was a little on the nose.
Yeah, that was
for
fun.
cannibals.
Yeah.
But eventually, she's able to get the better of David. David, I should say, solidifies that he's a prevert.
Yeah.
Gets on top of her and says some gross stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But she's able to get the better of him and starts hacking away. Very cathartic for her. She keeps on chopping,
So
even well after he's dead. And she runs out and is greeted by Joel, who she doesn't recognize at first, but we get the best baby girl.
Baby girl. Baby girl.
It's okay, baby girl.
It's okay, baby girl. So good.
She's crying. He's able to console her, and we finally see Joel and Ellie together as father and daughter.
Yeah.
At last,
baby girl.
they've made that connection fully.
Yeah.
And that's it. We fade out. We
Yep.
fade out after that, and we have one episode left.
Episode left.
Yes, but first, episode 8. When We Are in Need. What'd you think?
I mean, I thought that they were going to do the cannibal stuff over the course of 2 episodes. So I was surprised to see them address the part in the game where you start playing as Ellie because Joel is so injured.
Yeah.
And the cannibal stuff, all of that to me, I may be misremembering because Steve, shout out to Steve, friend of the podcast, been on the show before, homie. He pointed out to me that like all of that is like not that much in the game.
Yeah.
In my head, I thought that it was like a couple of hours of the game.
No,
it's actually not that
kind
long.
of a diversion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really just like a quick.
It feels longer because it's so shocking to start playing as Ellie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
in my head, I thought, oh wow, they're only going to do this in 2 episodes.
yeah.
But when you take into context, like, it actually is good enough to only take 2 hours to address all of this
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I get it.
And they
That's
fill
fine.
out a lot more of David's story.
And they do.
Yeah.
In the short amount of time, it's actually really good storytelling to just drop like subtle little things that tell a story within a story that doesn't get told in the game as well in the show. And I think that this is probably the first time that the show now this is the second time because the first time was Bill and Frank.
Sure. Yeah.
This is the second time where the show was afforded more time to flesh out a character that at once was just a monster, just a bad character, just a bad guy. And kind of shows you like why this person became the person that they are.
Sure.
And
We get some of that with Sam and Henry too. Where we get more of
you're
their,
right. You're
like,
right. Yes. So I
backstory
guess
and-
this is the third time.
Yeah.
We're seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
The show is doing pretty well. So, I mean, all that to say, I thought it was a fantastic episode. I was very, very impressed with their handling of the subject matter. I mean, it's dark, it's brutal, it's terrible, but the way that they do it is amazing. Bella Ramsey is, I just don't know how you can continue to watch this show and think like, oh, she doesn't look like, dude, for real? We're still having this conversation? Yeah. She is they are crushing it, okay? Crushing it.
Yeah.
So, if you're still thinking like, oh, they're not my Ellie, like, nah, I don't care what your Ellie is. Because they're killing it.
Yeah. No,
they're amazing.
100%.
So,
I think obviously Pedro Pascal is doing his thing too, but and the show itself is full of good side characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think the crowning achievement of this show, and I think it's safe to say because we only have one episode left, is Bella Ramsey's performance.
I hope they get everything that's coming to them.
Yeah. That sounds like a threat, but
I hope you get everything. I mean, as far as success is concerned,
yes.
every role, everything that they want, I
Yeah.
hope they get.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Now, it's funny you say that about it being a short amount of time, because that does worry me about the last episode, because for my purview, there's a lot to get through.
Yes.
And it's one of the shortest episodes, if not the shortest episode in the entire series.
They've already put out the length?
Yeah.
What is it? 45 minutes? 50 minutes?
I think it's 45. Yeah.
I was really hoping that the finale would be like 2 hours long.
Me too. I would have loved that. Now, you saying what you did about them making good, I guess, use of their time gives me some kind of, I don't know, silver lining on this, the fact that it's so short, that they're going to do it right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wish they would take their time.
Yeah, take a little bit of time.
This makes me feel like it was more of a budget issue, and like we gotta cut it down a bit.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah, because I've heard on a podcast actually that the Bill and Frank episode is actually, the original cut was like 2 hours long. Like, so I'm kind of hopeful that we're gonna have like a 4K Blu-ray thing of the full cut of everything.
That would be dope.
I would love
more
that.
gay sex.
Sure. If it's that good,
as graphic as possible.
if it's that good, I'll take it. Yeah. So I'm a little apprehensive about what we're edging up to with
this finale.
with Look for the Light, but they've done me good so far, and I can only enter into it feeling optimistic.
What a way to end if they don't end the last episode perfectly. If they don't stick the landing. I mean, they got a triple Lindsay going. They're midair.
Face plant.
Right. That would be a disaster.
That would be heartbreaking.
Yeah. It would.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
The only exactly.
Knock on wood.
The only thing that
Doesn't
we can
happen.
do is wait till next week, and then you guys will be here reporting on how we feel about that finale.
It is 43 minutes.
All right, that is pretty short. It's
very short.
Even this week's episode was an hour long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
big yikes.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
Yeah.
But we all we can do is put our trust in Druckmann and other homeboy. What's his
Mason.
name?
Craig Mason.
Yeah.
Of Chernobyl fame.
Yeah.
Everything else he's done has been awful.
All right. That's it, right?
Yes.
All right, before we get out of here, you know what we have to do, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time for our cheers of the week. So, Obi, what you got? What's your cheers, my friend?
My cheers of the week goes to... I've done it before, but I'm going to do it again. Persona 5.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Royal. Yeah. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Uh-huh.
So, if y'all don't know, I'm going to be going to Japan next month.
They don't know because this is the first time you're talking about it.
They might know me. I don't know. You might know me in person. I may have talked to you about this before, but yeah, I'm going to go to Japan next month for the first time. First time in Asia in general. And as sort of a, I won't say a prep, but as just to get into the mood of Tokyo. I'm back to playing Persona. I had stopped because there is a very cheap boss that everyone online I found has complained about.
Okay.
Haven't been able to beat
At
him.
least it ain't just you.
Haven't been able to beat him. So I've decided to focus every day for at least an hour a day. I'm going to grind. I'm going to grind and grind until I get all of my characters as high as possible and take them on again.
Yeah.
So I in that grind, I was expecting it to be a grind, as you may think, but the mechanics made me fall in love all over again.
Yeah.
The music's incredible. The style is incredible. I wish it was a different kind of game, not an RPG, so that you could experience it.
Yeah.
Because you would dig the entire style, because it's all based on like thieves and like heists and things like that. Like all of the like the core trope of the entire thing is that you're part of this like thieves guild, and you plan out a robbery or a heist, I should say. And
You should say.
I should say a heist. It's not a robbery. It's a different, very different thing.
It's a different thing. A heist is way different than a robbery.
Yes. Give it some class.
Yeah.
But
The class takes a different kind of criminal.
yes, each of your like main targets they have a different theme. So that's like your main
Wait,
focus.
that's the plot of the game?
Yeah.
You're a thief?
Yes,
I thought it was like high school and like you're
it is. But
okay.
look.
No one.
Look, the persona thing is that you have like a certain persona about yourself, your personality, right?
Okay.
Everyone has that. It's like their subconscious, right?
The persona is like their spirit animal, right?
Exactly.
It's like their okay.
Exactly. It's like their spirit.
Yeah.
So there's like let's call it a spirit realm that you go into, and once you're in that realm, you are personified as who you actually see yourself as.
Okay.
So all these characters see themselves as these like superheroes essentially, but they're all kind of like there's all something quote wrong with them that makes them outliers or outsiders in society. And that's what they like kind of gel together as these thieves who for good, they're like Robin Hood essentially. They go into people's subconscious who are rotten, and they pluck out the thing that makes them rotten, and those people have a like come to Jesus moment where they go, oh man, I've been terrible this entire time, let me turn myself into the cops.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the entire thing of Persona 5. So
You know how long we've been talking about this? And this is the first time that you've explained like that part of it.
I didn't think you cared. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. The music, if you get anything from this diatribe I'm going on right now, listen to the soundtrack. Please listen to the soundtrack. It's incredible.
Yeah.
For me, from 3 on, the soundtracks are incredible. Yeah. Great stuff.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a repeat cheers because that's how good that thing is.
Exactly. I fell back in love with it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm enjoying the grind, which is rare for an RPG. And I can't wait to finally beat that boss and keep it rolling.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. My cheers is going to the thriller classic Michael Clayton.
I thought you were going to say Michael Jackson's Thriller.
The thriller classic, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Michael Clayton.
Okay, no spoilers. I want to see this movie. I still haven't seen it.
You've never seen Michael Clayton?
We've been over this. We've been over this. I've never seen Michael Clayton.
Okay. Number 1, it's on HBO Max, so you can watch it like
great.
Whenever you want.
That was going to be my first question.
We can watch it after the show.
That's
I'll
incredible.
watch it again.
Okay.
Michael Clayton. I won't reveal any spoilers.
Yeah.
It
George
is
Clooney, right?
George Clooney.
Yeah.
Tom Wilkinson. Tilda Swinton.
Nice.
They're actually just the major players of the movie.
That's fine. That's enough.
Yeah. Great cast. I mean, this is George Clooney at his best. It's a powerhouse performance of subtlety, of bubbling anger, he's there's so many dominoes in play. There's so many strings being pulled. The basic plot of the movie is George Clooney plays Michael Clayton, the titular character, who is a fixer for a law firm. And Tom Wilkinson is the lead litigator for this law firm who is involved in a $3 billion class action lawsuit.
Okay.
And Tom Wilkinson's character, Arthur, is by all accounts a genius lawyer. And he has a mental breakdown in the middle of a deposition.
Okay.
And that sets off a domino effect of of all of these different things that happen, and basically it's George Clooney, Michael Clayton's responsibility to clean all of this up as the fixer of the movie.
Got it.
And I don't know how he didn't. I think he got nominated for an Oscar. I don't know how. I mean, I guess I'd have to look at the year that he was nominated in to see who he lost to.
Well, it came out in 07. So
07.
Yeah.
And
mind you, a very surprisingly and gladly svelte 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For some reason, I always assumed Michael Clayton was going to be like a 3 hour
because
thing.
You know, why wouldn't you? You know,
Sure.
Why wouldn't you? But it's fantastic, and it's one of my favorite movies. I love twisty, turvy, not courtroom dramas, but like lawyer thrillers, like Fracture, stuff like that.
Sure.
Movies like that are fucking fantastic, especially when you just get a couple of powerhouses to just act through them.
Few Good Men. I mean, come on.
I mean, Few Good Men is in my absolute top 5 movies of all time. If you put it on literally right now, I would watch the entire.
Same, yeah.
Few Good Men is so good.
Yeah.
So I just happened upon it because it was on HBO Max, and I was like, "Oh shit, Michael Clayton!" And I watched it again, and I was like, "This movie is so goddamn good that I need to shout it from the rooftops. I need everybody who hasn't seen it to watch it." So that's my cheers. And fucking George Clooney, man. Fucking George Clooney. That's fucking George Clooney.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he plays Danny Ocean, obviously, in Ocean's 11, one of my favorite heist movies of all time, and one of the greatest heist movies of all time. And then he plays the movie where they're on Mars. That is also another heist movie where they steal from Mars.
What?
Fuck. What is the movie called? I think they steal shit from that movie.
From that movie.
They steal shit from the base on Mars. I can't remember what it's called. I'm almost positive. All right, don't quote me on this because it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But I'm pretty sure they steal shit.
The Midnight Sky?
No. This is George Clooney and Ice Cube.
George Clooney.
Just Google Clooney and Ice Cube.
Three Kings.
Three Kings.
It's not Mars.
I thought they were on Mars.
No.
Where are they?
It's Desert Storm.
No. Wait. So then what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Ice Cube was in a movie where he's on Mars, dude.
Is it because it was dusty?
Okay, all right. Hold on.
Is it because it was dusty?
Okay, no. Stop for a second. Three Kings, they do steal shit when they're in Desert Storm, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now, table that. Not George Clooney. Ice Cube is in a movie where he's on Mars.
Are you talking about Ghosts of Mars?
Yes, that's the movie that I'm thinking of.
my
Ghosts of
God.
Mars. Okay, I'm not crazy.
Okay.
I just
George Clooney is definitely not in that movie.
I just conflated a couple of movies.
Okay.
All right, but Three Kings is a movie with George Clooney. So we're playing 6 Degrees of Ice Cube, right?
Yes.
now.
Were you thinking of Jason Statham?
No. I was thinking of George Clooney and Ice Cube. And I just couldn't remember what movie was which.
Yeah,
But George Clooney and Ice Cube were in Three Kings, where they do steal shit.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, right.
They steal
it's not
gold.
a heist movie, but they do steal shit.
Yeah, from Saddam Hussein. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So technically a heist movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Because
No, it
they
is.
had a plan.
Yeah.
So here's my tenets of a heist movie, right? You have a team. You have a scene where they plan out the heist. They take the thing, and then disaster strikes.
Sure,
Those are
yeah,
the three tenets: team, planning scene,
There's
steal the thing.
There's 1 and 2. There is no third.
What do you mean?
It's a callback. Don't worry about it.
All right. Anyway,
It's Last of Us, man. Come on.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funnier that I had to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how jokes work.
Yeah. Oh no, Three Kings is a great movie.
Yes.
Underappreciated.
Thank
I think.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's yeah.
It was on HBO all the time.
Yeah. Yes.
When I grew up, like I always remember watching that movie, like in bits and starts, fits and starts.
Fits and starts.
That's the one.
Fits and
Yeah. Fits and bits.
Fits and ends.
Yeah.
Ends and starts.
Yeah.
Okay. We got the cheers out of the way, but one last thing before we get out of here, we have to review this beer. So, Obi, what did you think of the Halatar?
What's in this stuff?
Halatar.
Hallertau.
Pils.
Hallertau.
German style
Pils.
Pilsner from human robot?
I like it a lot.
Like it a lot.
For me, it is a very smooth, sweet enough, but not overly sweet.
Yep.
I hate to use this phrase, but good mouthfeel.
Good mouthfeel.
Round mouthfeel.
That's
very
fine. Why wouldn't you?
silky.
What's wrong with using that? Don't be. People are weird. Don't make it like we are a show that reviews things that go in our mouths. Pause.
It's true. Yeah.
So don't make it. Don't let them make it weird.
Okay. All right. Has good mouthfeel. I enjoy it.
Okay.
Sorry. I am going to give this guy a 5 out of 6. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great example of a Pilsner.
Yeah.
I don't know what makes it a German style specifically other than what goes into it. But, like, you know, experience-wise, I can't tell you what a German style versus anything else would be. But I really dig what they're doing.
I mean, you kind of took all the words out of my mouth. Out of my mouthfeel.
Right out of the mouthfeel.
Right out of the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
I thought it was, nice, smooth, crisp, delicious, easy drinking. I've never had anything from Human Robot before, and when
Same.
we brought this in, I was pleasantly surprised and excited to taste some stuff for them. We have a couple of other things from them, and I'll try to grab for the show. But to start with, this is a pretty high bar to set.
Yeah.
And the reputation of Human Robot precedes them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just happy that we got to taste this. So
Yeah.
I would also give it a 5 out of 6. So
Very nice.
unanimous 5 out of 6 for the Human Robot Hallertau. I'm gonna figure out how to say that.
Hallertau.
Hallertau.
I want to say real quick, the
Please.
last 3 beers we've had, all 5.2% ABV.
Oh,
Weirdly enough.
that's very strange and
Yeah.
also pretty cool.
Yeah.
What a weird coincidence.
I know. Strange.
I think some of you guys are lying.
Someone's lying.
Somebody's lying.
Yeah.
All right. You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, then let's get the fuck out of here. This has been the One Beer In Podcast. For myself, Marco Dupa, and for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Beep, beep, boop, boop.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you.